Competition for new student recruitment is fierce. We're really seeing the need that universities need to find a way to be more creative to use their budgets and use their ad campaigns that allow it to spread it across more areas without breaking the bank. And the competition needs to flow across the entire funnel, and the ad campaigns need to flow across the entire funnel. And so everyone's used to thinking about the funnel this way. And it can make it a little challenging to think about the funnel this way when we talk about paid ad campaigns. And so what we found to be helpful is thinking about it from a time to value matrix. Bottom left quadrant here, cheap and ready later. So that's your kind of awareness type campaigns, right? That's high impressions, high amount of clicks. Those clicks are cheaper, but they don't convert right away. Consideration, we're in the middle, right? A little bit more expensive, but they are a little bit closer to the intent stage where they're going to take a conversion action. And then the last one is intent. Those are the people who are ready now. They are ready to request info. They are ready to apply now. They are closer to the bottom of the funnel, but you can see that's the smallest circle. Everybody is fighting for the intent-based people all the way at the bottom of the funnel. So Vital did an analysis of paid advertising budgets and campaigns across higher ed institutions. And what we found is the majority of the budgets are getting spent on the bottom of the funnel areas. So on degree program specific keywords and campaigns. We are going to cover 7 different campaigns we think higher ed institutions should consider. They should consider running and bring into their mix of advertising campaigns that will allow them to stretch budgets across all the goals they might have within their campaigns and within their student journeys.
Starting off at the very top of the funnel with some brand awareness, looking at awareness campaigns specifically for list building. These are going to be basically utilizing a few different types of ads on different platforms you can use that are basically going to get in front of cheap impressions, cheap clicks, trying to get engagement and ultimately build a remarketing list that we can utilize later down the funnel for other campaigns and to support other campaigns in general. So these are typically going to be display or video ads. So like those image-based ads that you see all over the internet, very creative focused content. And we want the CTA to not be towards enrollment. We want to not be pushing students to apply because they're not ready yet. We're just looking at them at the very early stages when they're really just trying to figure out what they want to do, where they want to go, and what types of programs are out there. So we don't want to focus too much on keyword targeting here because we want to be focusing on that creative and get those more video and display content ads in front of students as early in the process as we possibly can. So how do these help? Like I said, these build remarketing lists. So ideally, we want to have a substantial audience of users who are vaguely familiar with our brand that we can reserve ads to down the line to encourage them to move through the sales funnel in a more effective and efficient way. So we can do this in a few different ways. There's tons of remarketing audiences that you can capture. Most simply is just really anybody who's been on your website. It could be anybody that's interacted with your ads, or you can niche down more specifically and target based on how they've interacted with your ads. So an example here, if you're running video ads, you can then retarget users based on how much of that ad they viewed. This could be in terms of time spent watched, as in a few seconds, or it could be 50, 75%, or 100% of the video, and we can retarget them with different ads down the line. So some key points with this type of campaign, this should definitely not be our only type of campaign that we're running. These are not going to be high converting campaigns. Like Chris said, we're focused on awareness here. So we're not anticipating that this audience is going to be applying straight away. They're not going to be enrolling right now. They're still very early in the process. So we want to make sure that we're not trying to get tons of leads from this campaign. We're just trying to get in front of a lot of people. So there's a few different ways we can do that. You can get to be really creative with your audiences here in terms of how you want to get in front of these users. It can be as simple as anybody within a certain geographic region, if a specific state is of interest to you, or it could be specific websites, apps, or YouTube channels that your potential students are frequenting, and you can serve ads directly there. For example, if you're trying to get undergraduate students who are currently in high school, maybe they're viewing something like the Khan Academy YouTube channel that provides a ton of helpful information. Serve your ads directly on there and get in front of those students before they might have even heard about your school. From there, you can get even more creative. If you have some campaigns already running, you can set up audiences based on basically unrelated interests. So something I've seen with a few of my clients is that a huge portion of their audience is female and interested in beauty and wellness. So I can take that audience, apply it elsewhere. It has nothing really to do with higher education directly, but it's an audience I know engages with my ads frequently. So I can then reserve them these types of ads and introduce them to a specific college or institution. Staying top of funnel, moving to the next awareness would be problem awareness, demand generation campaigns. So these are very similar in terms of how we're getting in front of students, but differ slightly in the type of messaging that we're providing. So here we're focusing on promoting the opportunity. We want them to see our ads. We want them to experience FOMO, fear of missing out. We want them to see themselves at these universities and see all these awesome opportunities that they might not get elsewhere. Inspirational based messaging is really impactful here. So things like someday equals today, today is the day. You want students to feel inspired to take action. These campaigns as well should be focused more on creative content like display and video rather than search campaigns. However, there is a way to get in front of these students from a search perspective. If you have certain keywords like how to choose a college major, that's very general. That's someone very much in the research stage. But if you had any sort of early stage lead contents to support this, like an ebook that talks through how to choose a college major, this could be a keyword worth going after as long as you have that conversion offering for the student to convert on. Couple other key points about this type of campaign. It highlights potential pathways that students might not otherwise know about at your specific university, so opens the door for different pursuits that they might not have thought of, broadens the appeal of your university in general. So if prospective students might have heard of your university but not know about certain programs or offerings, this is an opportunity for you to highlight those. And then also inspire early engagement. We want to be in front of students as early in their decision-making process as possible. So encouraging them to engage from ads before they're ready to decide on an institution or even a specific degree is really helpful in capturing them from the start. Similarly, just capturing early interest, providing any sort of offerings on your website that can get students engaging early is really impactful, generally increases your reach and visibility, getting in front of as many eyes as possible, and just planting those seeds as early as you can in the student's decision-making process, just to make sure that you stay top of mind when they are ready to make more of those high-intent decisions. Some things to keep in mind. We want the ad copy, like I said, to be pretty general. You don't want it to focus on specific degrees because these students are not there yet, and you want it to be very future focused. We know that higher education is just a step in their journey. It's not by any means their complete ultimate outcome. They're going somewhere after that. So we want to keep that in mind about their overall goals. And we can utilize questions in ad copy. This is another way to promote engagement, starting to get students thinking and seeing themselves at your specific institution. We can also express urgency here. So again, we're not anticipating students are applying right now, but we can help prompt them to keep moving through the process, utilizing wording like today is the day, or we can see in this example in the bottom right, class is forming now. That tells students that people are already enrolling. They should get a move on and start doing it themselves. The last top of funnel campaign we'll be talking about is more of a general brand awareness campaign. So taking a bit of a step back, the goal of this campaign is to promote your specific school with a lot of the key components that differentiate you from the competitors. So you want to pick components that are going to be engaging for students. It's going to pique their interest, things that make you stand out from the crowd. So some examples of this to think about are what types of rankings or awards does your school have that others don't that help increase that credibility? How many degrees do you offer? Do you have a wide range of degrees that students could pursue any passion within? Or are you more niche and have some of those more specific programs? Are there any faculty highlights? Do you have a really small student to faculty ratio that you want to promote? Or do you have any specific accredited faculty you want to call out? Similarly, any academic excellence you want to promote if you're a public research university, and then anything related to campus life and community. You want to, again, make these students visualize themselves here and see college as not only an opportunity to get their degree, but to be part of a community. These last 2 points I find are the most impactful in higher education ad copy, just given what the kind of learning environment looks like for a lot of students now. So focusing on online learning and flexible learning options is pretty substantial, especially when we're talking about master's or doctorate degrees. Those individuals are often working full-time jobs, they have families, and flexible learning options or online degrees are ideal for them. Last is scholarships and financial aid. Most students who are going to school now get some sort of scholarship or financial aid. It's hugely impactful to be advertising that right out of the gate. You want students to know that they can make college affordable for themselves, and highlighting any sort of dollar amounts for scholarships you give in a given year, or just highlighting that you have financial aid options available is really insightful and helpful for students in making those decisions. Similarly to other brand awareness, this is going to help just build your trust and credibility. I look at these ads like digital billboards, so you're just kind of promoting the general content about your university, but staying top of mind and kind of hitting people as they navigate around the internet, just to remind them that you are established, credible, and worth looking more into. This also does help support recruitment and retention. Even though we're targeting the top of the funnel here, it's ultimately going to help in all of your other campaigns and help continuously, again, stay top of mind and facilitate the performance of your other campaigns. As Chris said, it's a very competitive landscape, so any opportunity to stand out against the competition is going to be beneficial. So if your competitors are showing up on certain websites all around the internet, you might as well too. So this is a great way to do so. You're going to appear right alongside your competitors' ads and maybe even in some more creative placements that they hadn't thought of to stay top of mind with your ideal students. And then overcoming geographic bias. We'll see this a little bit more on the next slide, but of course, anybody who's more closely physically located to your institution is going to be more familiar with your offerings. And as you expand past that, we can see here that number drops off. So we want to expand our reach. If there are specific regions in particular that we want to promote more in, you can do so. But of course, those located closer to the main campus are going to have more familiarity with your brand, and we want to expand that. So this is a little closer look on that. We can target more specifically with location. So there's two examples on the right-hand side here of some clients I've had some strategic discussions about geo-targeting with. So on the top right, you can see this specific university is located in downtown Boston. And so they don't in particular have dormitories on campus. They do provide some guidance for housing options, but basically our goal was to target a radius that was somewhat relatively drivable in terms of commuting students, and also within the area to make it more reasonable for students to find housing options that they're comfortable with and can visit and are familiar with. So we kept our location targeting somewhat tight within that New England area. And then I also added some additional targeting around Boston with adding in individual cities. So we can basically tell Google we want to get in front of more searches in those closer located cities and are willing to pay more for those. Similar is true with the below screenshot. This is a client located in West Virginia, and they have a specific tuition offering for some counties in these two neighboring states, Ohio and Kentucky. So in order to push that tuition offering, we're targeting this specific area. So it's a way to get the super relevant message in front of a super relevant audience. So you can be as broad or specific with this geo-targeting as you'd like to be, just depending on what your goals are. Additionally, it's helpful to use a variety of campaign types. There's tons of different ones, not just on Google Ads, but paid social. So utilizing a variety of these is really helpful. You want to get your ads in front of users as many times as you can around as many places on the internet as possible. So by no means you have to only run video. There's no harm in running multiple as long as you're optimizing your campaigns and making sure that you're showing up where you want to show up. And then lastly, similar to other types of campaign goals, we want to try to maximize as much on the data we're collecting as we can. So this is another opportunity to build a remarketing audience. Any traffic we're getting to the website, we can retarget. So this is another opportunity to collect those engagements and then re-engage down the line. Moving to the middle of the funnel, these are program research campaigns. So not still students who are ready for information on the specific degree. They're still in that research stage. So they're typing in some more research-based keywords. So on the right side, you can see Master's in Accounting versus MBA. That's a degree comparison term. Types of accounting degrees, similar, just looking for more information about what could be studied within a given area of interest. And then we have CPA education requirements. So looking for specific requirements, classes, courses, qualifications for a degree of interest. So we can target some keywords related to degree comparisons here, things like versus searches, one degree versus another, career outcomes like career opportunities, job placements, salary expectations, things like that. All of this we can use within our ad copy. And the key here is what offering we're going to provide for these students. So we'll see that in a subsequent slide. But in terms of some other key components of these campaigns, we want to still keep them pretty general. These students have not decided on their specific degree yet, so we want to keep it more general to the program as a whole. So we can see from this example that Cornell is advertising their HR certificates, not a specific certificate. They do say they have 15 plus online programs, so we know they have several, but it's just targeting people who are kind of generally interested in this program, not ready to decide on the specific certificate yet. Ultimately, these types of campaigns increase our overall conversion rate. So when we get into program-specific keywords, they're very expensive. This is a way to make costs a little bit cheaper while still bringing in conversions and qualified leads. It also helps support informed decision-making. So we want students to feel confident in their decisions, and we want them to feel good that whatever program they decide to pursue has everything they're looking for their ultimate career and degree goals. So we can see here on the right side, this university is advertising AI as a concentration. So again, we're not focusing on the specific degree, but kind of letting students know that we offer these types of programs and that it might still be a good fit for them whenever they decide on their actual degree. So what do we promote for these students? We want to push early stage lead offers. We know these students aren't ready to sign up to talk on the phone with admissions quite yet, but we want to provide them some sort of gated content that we can still collect their information from for remarketing purposes and also for lead nurture purposes. So typically, we will run this as an ebook offer for any type of degree comparison. For example, maybe the ebook is focused on different individual degrees that a specific program in your university offers. It could also be like these examples on the right in terms of a student panel. Again, gated content, we're asking the students to submit their information and their contact info. Or it could be a virtual info session, a webinar, any sort of content that's kind of in the middle. We're not expecting students to make solid decisions, but we're still providing them with content and establishing us as a credible resource for what type of degree they ultimately decide on. And again, these are great for remarketing. This is one of the most specific types of remarketing where you can actually target individuals who have clearly expressed interest in a program. So if you have these early stage lead offers, you can remarket to those who have submitted their information, but you can also remarket to users anywhere on the site where they've visited anything program specific. So here's a little bit of this in action just for what these keywords kind of look like when you put them into Google, and also highlights that not a lot of people are doing this right now. So when you type in this sort of degree comparison keyword, Master's in Accounting versus MBA, you can see that all the results here are basically just pushing programs. It's not really highlighting that the student is in the research phase and are not ready to take that step. So all of these advertisers here are pushing some sort of business degree, whether it's an MBA, MACC, or just the College of Business. So Google's basically identifying that whatever keywords they're targeting mean kind of the same thing as what was typed into Google. But if any student were to click on these ads, they're not going to get the results they're looking for. They're looking for information, and these ads are promoting enrollment. So this is an opportunity as the advertiser to really tighten up your campaigns. If you are pushing a campaign that's looking for those students ready to enroll in a program, you might want to add some negative keywords related to these research terms. So things like versus, careers, requirements, anything that you know is more close to the middle or top of funnel, you want to remove from those bottom funnel campaigns, which is what these ads are showing. The ad on the left-hand side is a little different. It's not quite a higher education institution, but it still highlights that the focus of the ad is on comparison and research, not ready to enroll, not ready to take that step or commitment.
Next campaign type is bridge engagements. Bridge engagement is an offer where people can spend a little bit of time with your university or whatever the higher institution is, but it's not as committal as applying or requesting information or talking to an enrollment person. It's none of that. We want to take someone who is somewhat far away from making that decision and give them an in-between step. When you're looking for schools and you're trying to decide on a degree and or a certificate in your future, that a lot of these things, it's a marathon. It's a marathon for these students. It's going to take a long time to make this decision. They're going to have to do a lot of research. A lot of campaigns are just asking people to sprint straight to the finish line. But instead, we need to train. We need to add support stations throughout the marathon to help get them to the finish line. And that's what these type of campaign offerings are is, hey, we know we're not ready to go across the finish line, but maybe we're at mile marker 10 and let's spend some time there. So, your typical messaging on campaigns like these are going to be, attend a virtual open house, an information session, see for yourself, try before you buy it. We want to require less effort from the student and lower the expectations on the student very early in the funnel. And we need to be empathetic and understanding that people aren't ready to make a decision yet. But also we want to introduce incremental steps to our student journey, essentially. We don't want to go from here to here. We want incremental steps. And what that also does is that allows us new problems to solve. So right now, the problem that a lot of universities are solving is like, hey, how can I get someone on my remarketing list to apply now? Well, that's a very hard problem to solve because it ignores where the person is in their journey. A new problem to solve is how do I get someone on my remarketing list to take us up on a bridge engagement offer of some sort? That's a great problem to solve. Figure out that problem, and then your next problem is how do I take someone who converted on a bridge engagement and get them to request info, apply now? Byproduct of that, yep, we are deepening interest and engagement of the folks that we are marketing to, right? They get to take these incremental steps, learn more, become more comfortable, become more educated and informed. And then as we're doing that, we are providing social proof. Every single one of these bridge engagements provides social proof that, wow, I went to an open house and I heard a faculty member talk and they sounded really smart and impressive. And then they brought some alumni in and wow, like how impressive are they? I would love to be able to get myself there. And then what we find is if we can get someone to a bridge engagement, to an in-between engagement. Here's another great example, University of Southern Maine, try a course for free. See if it's a good fit, right? Try it before you buy it. If I can get someone to try it, I can get them to that next stage at a higher rate than I would if I was taking them from cold all the way to your typical request info, buy now, apply now. And that ends up being more cost effective, right? Because a higher percentage of people are going to take you up on the in-between offering than they are at the bottom one. So your cost per conversion is going to go down. You're going to have more conversions to deal with to then nurture into the next stage. A key component of having bridge engagement offers and bridge engagement campaigns is once you get them to convert, you need to have the right lead nurture processes in place. So lead nurture emails and lead nurture remarketing campaigns. Because what you want to be able to do is take them from that next step and continue the conversation and bring them down that journey. Next one, now we're getting to the bottom of the funnel here, is program demand capture. So in the earlier campaigns, we did a lot to create the demand. Now it's time to capture that demand. We're building it up so then we can capture it. And so that's what these types of campaigns are. So these are your bottom of the funnel. This is where we are now bidding on degree specific keywords. We've done a lot to try to create that opportunity and the awareness of our institution so that when they do type in those degree specific keywords, they're already in a remarketing audience or they're very familiar with our institution, either way, getting us a higher click-through rate and a lower cost per conversion. So besides the Google search ads, we're doing bottom of the funnel degree specific keywords, certificate specific keywords, things like that. When we do creative display campaigns or prospecting campaigns or remarketing campaigns where we're using creative, we are talking about the degree in general. So we're switching from let's talk about the college to let's talk about the specific program that we care about. And let's try to differentiate it. Let's talk about program specifics, faculty expertise, accreditations, recognition, all that sort of stuff. We want to pump up and really sell that program at every chance we can get. So this is a much more targeted recruitment, right? We've done all this work to build up the demand. Now we just want to recruit within what we've built up. So again, trying to differentiate, trying to have some unique selling points and drive informed decision-making. From degree specific keywords, again, highest intent individuals, that's who we're trying to get in front of. We got a lot of examples here where, okay, yep, we are going after very specific high intent keywords with very specific high intent ads. Non-degree keywords are kind of another type of high intent keyword that relate to different qualities within higher ed. So let's say universities with scholarships or top mid-sized colleges, universities with financial aid, community colleges near me. So that might not be degree specific, but those are still more bottom of the funnel. And then, of course, we want to be doing remarketing to these folks.
So this is another example of showing up for the right opportunity, especially when we get as low in the sales funnel as these types of campaigns. The cost per click is going to be a lot more expensive because it's a lot more competitive. So this is an example where I typed in online PhD programs in curriculum and instruction, super specific keyword, super clear intent. I'm looking for a very specific type of program. And actually the first result that came up wasn't even relevant at all. It's from Franklin University, instructional design doctorate is their main headline. Not the degree I was looking for. It doesn't really answer the problem that I'm trying to solve by my query. And actually, because they're a established advertiser and are probably bidding pretty competitively, they got in that first position, which means that they were able to show these site links, those basically additional pieces of information within the ad. They more or less serve as extra ads on your ad. So that ad specifically has 5 opportunities or 5 places I can click on it and basically make them spend money for me to get to their website, realize it's not what I'm looking for, and back out. So the ad on the bottom from Liberty University, we can see addresses my specific search query. It says PhD, curriculum and instruction, no set login time. So it doesn't say online specific, but it's clear that it's a flexible option. It would probably suit my needs. It's the specific degree I'm looking for. So if I were to click on it, it's going to give me the answers that I'm looking for. And this is an opportunity, again, to really be monitoring your search terms and making sure that you're adding tons of negative keywords so you don't waste money on searches like this that are not ultimately going to convert and not going to meet that user's intent.
All right, last one, addressing pain points campaigns. What we want to do with these campaigns is essentially like grease the skids. Like, okay, we've done a lot to build up demand and get in front of the right people and build awareness and all those sorts of things. And now we're going to start running into some friction where they might be interested, but they have reservations or they have objections, they have pain points. And so if we think about it from an objective standpoint, it's going to come down to lots of factors, but it's going to come down to what are all the barriers to entry here. This ad for Maryland is actually a great example of hitting these objections head on, right? They literally says roadblock free. So they're going straight at, we know these are common pain points. We know these are common objections people are going to have. We are going to take care of that proactively with these campaigns so that the people know they don't have to worry about this with us. Common messaging for these campaigns. So what are the other objections and areas where we can like grease the skids to say, yep, you know what? It's so easy to enroll with us. It's so easy to be a student here. We're going to make this easy. We've got you interested in the program and we're going to make it really easy and take down as much objections, as much friction as we can. So scholarships and financial aid, huge. Entrance exam fees waived, transcripts fees waived, military discounts, transfer credits. All those sorts of things are huge areas that we can be advertising on and promoting on. The first thing that we want to do as marketers is we want to map out objections. So it is helpful as an exercise to actually write it down. What are the common objections that people are going to have to getting a degree with us? Once you write all of those down, you need to put them in order. When in the funnel does this objection occur? And now you need to find a way to provide counter objections. Basically, again, how to address that friction. Here's a couple other examples of scholarships, financial aid available. Let's see, no out-of-state tuition for Penn State World Campus. Like in their Google search ads, they are getting these types of how to address pain points, how to reduce friction into their ad copy. Other places, WGU, they literally have an objection in their ad, right? They wrote an objection in the ad copy, which says, I can't get a quality degree online. And they cross it out and say, I'm earning a quality degree online. They literally grab the objection and put it in their ad copy. Scholarship opportunities are waiting. Transfer credits are welcome for University of Phoenix. Yep. They know that people need help paying. They know that people might have transfer credits. They're going to hit on that over and over and over again. And here you can see WGU on the right saying, yep, hey, there's scholarships, $2,500 scholarship. We got a $5,000 scholarship. Franklin saying get $500 off the spring term. It is a great angle to take to make people feel how much easier it is. And why would I not just try it out? These things are open to me and these are attractive to me. As a recap, real quick here, we went over 7 different campaigns that we think higher ed institutions should consider. They should think about getting into their mix. They should think about tracking them that way and being clear when they're doing what type of campaign. The way that actually can kind of work is you can sort of think about it like this, where you have certain awareness campaigns that should probably just be going all the time. And then you have your addressing pain points campaigns, and those should probably be going all the time too. But then the rest of these can, depends on how your enrollment periods work, but these can be turned on and turned off to support different parts of your enrollment periods and different areas of the marketing funnel. And so it's just kind of a different way to organize it and think about it. So with that, thank you all for your time. We're going to jump into a couple questions here. And so I'm going to let Josh jump in and read us off some questions.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Jenna. Great presentation. So the first question we have is from Swapnil, I believe. Which medium should be used for early stage campaigns? Is a website good enough or using online ads?
I would definitely recommend using online ads for any stage. Typically, when you're looking at earlier stage or brand awareness type things, you're going to allocate much less of your budget toward that because it's going to be cheaper and it's going to result in fewer measurable opportunities or enrolled students, basically. So you want more of your advertising budget to be allocated towards the bottom of the funnel, but online ads are definitely a good medium to use for early stage leads, as well as your website.
Chris, anything you want to add?
No, that's great.
Yeah, Jenna's a pro. All right, we're going to go to Curtis's question. What would be a good KPI for program research campaigns?
Sure. Yeah. Anything closer to the top of the funnel, you're going to be looking less at conversions. But if you have program research campaigns that do have some sort of early stage offer, which they ideally should, you can definitely track conversions there. I'm looking at all metrics for all stages of a student's journey, basically. So impressions and clicks are more for my purposes as the advertiser. Those are things I'm going to look at to further optimize my campaigns. But ultimately, for something like program research, I'm still going to report on conversions and be looking at cost per lead, conversion rate, all of the relevant metrics just to make sure that things are working at all stages.
Yeah, and on that, I'd also say, don't look at these campaigns in silos. Like a lot of campaigns that are really helpful get turned off all the time because they're looked at in silos, because you might be running a brand awareness campaign that generates no leads, but it helps the conversion rate of a lower funnel campaign that you are running, where you can get a higher click-through rate and a higher conversion rate, let's say on a demand capture campaign, because you run that brand awareness campaign. We've seen this time and time again, where as soon as universities start advertising outside the area that they are known, so we showed that map earlier, their conversion rate starts to fall off and their cost of acquisition starts to go up. And so the way you combat that is you scale your awareness and your opportunity awareness campaigns within more geos. And as you're able to do that, you can bring up your demand capture campaign conversion rates. But that story is told at the bottom of the funnel. And so if you don't measure all those campaigns together and look at their impact across each other, you'll turn off campaigns that might hurt you and you didn't even know that you hurt yourself because you turned it off because you weren't looking at them together.
Nice. Well said. Another question from Deborah. Can you please explain the BOFU, TOFU, and MOFU, please? So the different points in the tunnel and in the funnel. My apologies.
Go for it, Jenna.
Sure. Bottom of BOFU, BOFU just stands for bottom of funnel. So those are going to be the highest intent campaigns, the ones where your prospective students are the closest to taking those desired actions. So they probably have an idea for the specific degree they want to pursue. Maybe they even have a few universities in mind, but they're really close to that decision-making process. As you take a step back, you get to MOFU, middle of the funnel. So students that have a vague idea of kind of the areas of interest, maybe a region of the country or other specific country they want to study in, but they haven't made those final decisions or committed to a specific degree program. And then top of funnel is going to be pretty much all awareness based. That's the TOFU acronym. So really just getting in front of individuals who haven't even yet heard of your brand, or maybe briefly had, don't know a lot about it, don't have a whole lot of familiarity, and are much further away from taking those desired actions. They still have a lot of research to do, and they haven't made any decisions quite yet.
Great. Can you please explain the difference between the type of gated content offered by program research campaigns and bridge engagement campaigns?
Sure. So these can kind of go a little bit hand in hand. You can kind of reuse different types of content. They don't have to all be completely separate. Program research is going to really be focusing on the intent of what people are looking for there. So if you're basing on program research, they're already looking into information for kind of a specific program. So the early stage content you want to provide should be specific to that query. So if they're looking into comparing different business degrees, you want your early stage content to be specific to those degrees, with also the added branding of what degrees your specific institution offers to promote them to pursue that path through your institution. Versus bridge engagement is acknowledging a little bit further down the line that they're probably already more familiar with your institution specifically, and you can provide them some additional content. It could overlap, but it could be something different that pushes them for more credibility in your specific institution.
Yeah, the specific asset could be the same. And so you did see overlap in those examples where, yep, there was, I think, an open house example in the program research one and an open house example in the bridge engagement one. So like the asset is the same. It's the campaign that it lives within and how you're using those campaigns that can differ, but there's definitely overlap there.
Cool. Thanks, guys. A few more questions. How do you track all of this stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Tracking is super, super important. So we want to make sure that any type of conversion action you've set up on your landing pages is going to be trackable. So if you have a form, if a form submission is what you're looking for, you want to make sure that data feeds right back to your CRM so that we can see not only what information was submitted, but we want those UTM, those tracking parameters to carry through. So then your advertiser can verify not only did this lead come in, it came from this specific campaign, this ad group, this specific ad, all of that information to help feed back into your advertising platform to get more results like that. So tracking in general is just super important. You want to set up those pixels on your landing pages. We do a lot of testing to make sure our conversion actions are tracking correctly, setting them up usually through Google Tag Manager, Google Analytics, and just make sure that there's no piece of information that's missing so I can make more informed decisions about my campaigns.
And if you have HubSpot, you can also connect that with your campaigns and actually push in CRM level data into your campaigns to bid on, which is pretty crazy, but really helpful. So instead of just bidding on conversions, HubSpot can connect to like Google search ads, and you can say, I only want to bid on leads on ad campaigns or on keywords that got me an enrollment advising appointment, or only on ones that got me someone who actually applied. And you can push that information back into Google Ads and then use it to bid on, which is a real game changer if you can do that.
Another question. Do you have any best practices around landing pages? I know we were just kind of talking about tracking conversions.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of benefits to optimizing your landing page. Some are more general, kind of across industries. You want to make sure that your landing page in general is conversion rate optimized. So basically limit any opportunity for students to navigate away from the page. So you don't want links on the page, you don't want social icons, you want students to get to that page, get all the information they need and convert. This is something I track with a lot of clients. So if we have certain links or buttons on the website, on the landing page that direct to other places on the website, I'll track that so we can very clearly see you got X amount of clicks on this button that navigated elsewhere, which is X amount of opportunities that we lost that didn't convert. On top of that, we want very clear conversion actions. CTAs should be all over the page, very distinct, very easy to see, so it should be clear what's expected of the student, whether it's a phone call, a form submission, taking that step to apply, anything like that. And we want a lot of information about the program with as varied of content as we can. So a lot of text information about degrees. We want landing pages to be as specific to the campaigns as possible. So keep them super tailored to specific degrees that you're advertising on, and then providing statistics about the programs. Testimonials are huge. I recommend having them written and video just to provide a few different types of content for users to engage with and ultimately remarket to as well.
Thanks, Jenna. And I think this is going to be our last question. Any recommendations for creative, either image or video content?
Definitely. Yeah. For images, I like to have student-focused assets. So any image that shows a student having a really great time at the university. I've included some that are students doing kind of extracurricular activities. So maybe it's a student who's on the football team, just really highlighting how much fun the school or institution is to go to, as well as students at work. So if you're advertising specific degrees, you can add images that are students doing the work in those degrees. If it's a nursing program, show those students doing the work. Those are really impactful. It really helps prospective students visualize themselves in those roles. And for video content, the main thing is you want it to be probably a minute or less. The shorter, the better, just so it's immediately engaging. And you want there to be something very eye-catching right in those first 2 seconds. The more impactful it is right from the beginning, the more likely people are to continue watching.
Great. Thanks again, Jenna. I think with that, we are going to close out this webinar today. Thanks, Chris and Jenna, for presenting with us. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today for this webinar. If any of you had questions that we didn't get to or you didn't get to submit them today, we'll be sending out any answers that we receive. But you can also send them to chris@vitaldesign.com. We will be sending out a recording of this webinar, and we will send a copy of the presentation as well. Once again, thank you for investing your time with us, and we wish you all a fantastic rest of your day.